Hello my Funatics, it's Fufu here, and today I'm bringing you week 7 of the PPL. This week I'm going up against the Baltimore Braviarys, headed by Kelly, aka Under the Radar. He's a great guy. Go and check out his YouTube channel because his content's really good. It's a lot of Draft League stuff, so if you like this kind of video, then you're going to like his channel. He's doing Pokemon analyses and things as well, so it's really interesting content, and as I say, worth a look. At the moment, we're doing pretty well. We're going 6-0, which means we're the only undefeated team at the moment in the league. And the person closest to us has got one loss. That's Trav of the North Melbourne Kangaskhan's. I haven't played him yet. I play him in the penultimate week. And my aim at the moment is to go undefeated until we face off. Because if I can do that, then I put all the pressure on him to win, because that's pretty much his only chance of winning. If I win that match, then I'm guaranteed. If I've won all the matches and then win that match, I'm guaranteed to win. So I just need to keep winning. I know that's the aim of the game anyway, and it sounds really stupid when I say it like that. But yeah, putting the pressure on Trav will make it harder for him in that penultimate week. So, but I've still got a lot of work to do. We've got 4 battles, including this one, until that match. So yeah, a lot to do. So as always, I'm going to do the team builder bit first, and then we'll go into the battle. If you're not as interested in the team builder bit, that's fine. There'll be a time link in the description, so you can skip straight to the battle. But if you're a real cool person, then you will stick around to see what I've got to say about the matchup and what I am bringing. So, looking at Kelly's team, he's got so much bulk. Like, so much bulk. That's not too much of a problem for me though, because I have a team full of wall breakers, which is pretty great. But obviously on the team that I bring, I'll need a mix of roles, so I need to make sure I'm picking the most efficient wall breakers that I have for his team. Things that I'm concerned about in terms of the bulk side are Reuniclus that can be really hard to kill if he sticks a Colbur Berry on that. I don't have very much to hit it, but Dark Pulse from Mega Blastoise is probably the strongest thing I have to hit it. I really don't want it to set up, so that's something to bear in mind. And also Azumarill could be a bit scary, seeing as though it resists all the Blastoise's stabs. It might get burned by a Scald, but that's the only thing it has to worry about for Blastoise. And Blastoise is a very good matchup in this matchup. So I'm thinking Azumarill might be coming. Probably more Assault Vested or Choice Banded rather than Belly Drum. But I'm a bit scared of that. I need to be aware of Sporing Amoonguss, and also, Alomomola, I don't really think it's coming. It can't take on the physical threats that well, which is normally what it does. Tyrantrum just destroys it with the Choice Bander's Head Smash. What it might do is come as a specially defensive variant with Mirror Coat for Blastoise and Jolteon, but I don't really see it coming, to be honest. So yeah, in terms of the bulk, that's what I'd be worried about. The offensive threats, his offensive threats are really scary. So he's got Infernape, that I really don't have switch-ins for at all. Like, it's stab coverage, covers everything apart from maybe Talonflame, but he can have Stone Edge for that, and maybe Blastoise, which can take the hits a bit better, but he can have Grass Knot or Thunder Punch for Blastoise. So that thing I am actually terrified about. It also outspeeds almost everything on my team. I didn't really want to bring Jolteon this week because it didn't have a great matchup, so it would outspeed everything apart from a Talonflame, but I can't really switch Talonflame in because, as I said, it could carry the Stone Edge. Fortunately, Talonflame does check it though, so that might be a disincentive for him to bring it, but I think that Monkey is probably too valuable not to bring in this one. So Talonflame, yeah, is my best way to deal with it right now. And the other thing is Garchomp, which again is very scary for my team because it outspeeds so much of it, and it has the coverage. If it's a subset or an SD set, something like that, it's actually terrifying. It's really scary. It could notch up a lot of kills. It could actually just sweep me if I don't handle it properly. So I need to be able to break Garchomp subs. That's a really important part for my team building. So the first Pokemon that I'm going to bring is Mega Blastoise. I noticed that it does very well against the team. As I say, Azumarill is probably one of the better switch-ins, but it could get burned, which means that he's not threatening at all. So that's really good for my Blastoise. The coverage I wanted to bring was Scald because of getting burns for stuff, and also for Rhydon, which Kelly picked up just before our match. I'm pretty sure that my Tyrantrum and my Talonflame were the things that influenced that pickup. So yeah, Scald will hit that as well. Ice Beam is good for hitting Amoonguss, which again is another potential switch in, and also Oko and Garchomp, which is very important. It may mean the difference between between losing my my Blastoise and being able to get another hit off, being able to Oko Garchomp rather than not. I need Dark Pulse for Reuniclus, and the final move is Rapid Spin. I had considered bringing something like Toxic for the Azumarill, but if I think Azumarill is coming in, I'm better going for Scald hoping for a burn. So I think Rapid Spin is probably the best move there. Looking at Kelly's draft, interestingly, there's a massive speed gap. He's got Infernape and then Garchomp, which are really fast, and then the next fastest thing is Alomomola, which won't be running speed. So the next fastest thing is Azumarill, which I guess he would run Adamant over Jolly most of the time. So I'm just speed creeping Adamant Azumarill with my things, and that means that Blastoise can be so bulky and outspeed the things it needs to outspeed, which is really, really great. So that's what's going on with the weird EVs there. Also, these two things are just because if I put them into HP, I'd have an even HP number, which I don't particularly want, and I'd rather get an extra boost in each of these. So just some weird EVing that I do. Okay, the next Pokemon that I wanted to bring, as I said, Azumarill is a switch into Blastoise, so I want to switch in on Azumarill, and that is the Gourgeist. What I like about this Gourgeist is that it does a number of different things. It can really help with a few things. It can help with the Alomomola if it does come, but it also really helps with Rhydon, which I definitely think is coming, and can do some fun things there. It can spread Wisps, which is really great. Kelly no longer has a way to remove status because he swapped up Miltank for Rhydon, so getting burns on regenerator walls is very handy, very handy. I want the C-Bomb to get immediate damage off on Rhydon and Azumarill. Synthesis just to keep it healthy as an Azumarill switching, because I don't really want anything else to be taking damage switching into it. Will-O-Wisp says spread Wisps. Destiny Bond is there as a cheeky get-out clause for, say, if a Reuniclus is set up, I can maybe just Destiny Bond it instead of having to worry about killing it, as, yeah, it's just a weird Gourgeist set that I thought I might try. Colberberry so I can take knockoffs from Azumarill, and the EVs are very important. The 20 attack EVs mean that this Gourgeist will always break a Garchomp with 12 HP EVs. It'll break the sub because Garchomp will be running 12 HP EVs because that's what it needs to outspeed Jirachi, which is the only thing that he would need to speed creep. So he can have like 244 speed with a positive nature and still outspeed Jirachi, so he's got 12 points to put into HP. So yeah, he's not going to be able to get up a sub on this thing. So that was really important just to point out. And I went with the large rather than super because I wanted to outspeed the Alomomola. So the next Pokemon is Safety Goggles, Talonflame. This is basically a dedicated switch in for Amoonguss. I don't really... Oh, it's also the check for Infernape. That's the role it plays. It's bulky because Rhydon's there, which is a really safe switch in, and I'm not going to be doing any damage to it, so I thought I may as well be able to stay around for as long as possible as an Amoonguss switch in. I wanted Taunt to stop things like Synthesis or other cheeky things that might happen, maybe taunting the Rhydon as it comes in so it can't set up rocks. That could be really useful. It takes a bit of pressure off Blastoise. So that's the thought behind this set. It's basically just a dedicated switch in on Amoonguss and a check to the Infernape. The next Pokemon is the Ockerberry Jirachi. Okay, this Jirachi set is a little bit weird. Like Blastoise, I don't need any speed investment. I can't outspeed Garchomp, and I don't need any speed to outspeed. Azumarill. Wait a second. Yeah, this is level 100. I'll take it to level 50 just so that you can see the numbers, because I'm getting used to level 50 numbers now. And the coverage that Jirachi gets is actually brilliant. It's really helpful. I was going to run Expert Belt, but I wanted this just as extra assurance for the Infernape. So it's my Stealth Rocker, will be helpful for Regenerator Walls if they come, and maybe breaking a Nape Sash or something like that. I just like rocks. The rocks aren't amazing against Kelly's team, but it will help for Regenerator Walls just to chip them away, especially if I get the burns on. They won't be recovering that much health every time they switch in and out. Psyshock is there to hit Infernape and Amoonguss. Energy Ball is there for Rhydon and Azumarill, and Shadow Ball is there for Reuniclus, just as another way of hitting it quite hard. I like Shadow Ball on Jirachi as well because it's actually got a 40% chance to drop special defense, which is really quite good. That's better than a Skull Burn, so that's pretty fun. So yeah, that's the basis behind that set. I've gone max special attack, modest, just to hit things quite hard, and I don't need the speed, so it's all in bulk. Now, the next Pokemon is is the other wall breaker aside from Blastoise that I decided upon. So that's Hariyama. I decided to use this instead of Tyrantrum because Rhydon is a really easy switch in on Tyrantrum, and he's also got Garchomp as well, which is actually a pretty good switch in on Tyrantrum as well if he thinks I'm going for head smashes, which is probably what I'd want to do a lot of the time. It doesn't quite have the coverage. Like, Tyrantrum doesn't OHKO a lot of things. It 2-hit KOs a lot of things. And if I bring Banded to OHKO stuff, then I have to get the right prediction, and it's just trickier. Whereas this guy has amazing coverage for Kelly's team. It's really great. With a Life Orb Sheer Force, it hits so hard, and max speed means that I'm at least speed tying with max speed Azumarill, but as I said, I think he'll probably bring a bulkier Azumarill set, so I'm probably outspeeding Azumarill and Electros as well, actually. I'll outspeed that too. So close combat hits everything apart from the Mushroom and Reuniclus. I've got Knockoff for Reuniclus. I've got Ice Punch for Mushroom. Ice Punch also hits Garchomp super hard, and then Thunder Punch is there just to hit the fish a bit stronger than close combat, and I don't drop my defenses. So that's the idea behind the set, but close combat is the nuke here. Oh yeah, Thunder Punch also hits Azumarill because that resists close combat. I did have Poison Jab, but Thunder Punch covers Azumarill, basically OHKOs after rocks, and it does the same job as Poison Jab. Poison Jab does a bit more though, it stands a chance to OHKO max HP Azumarill, I think. So yeah, that's the reason I chose Hariyama over Tyrantrum. I just think it does a better job this week. And then the final Pokemon that I had a lot of deliberation on this, yeah, there were a number of thoughts what I could have gone with for this last set. I could have gone with a Tyrantrum, I could have gone with Jolteon, I could have gone with Nidoqueen, but I decided, because of a suggestion from a friend, and it was a very good suggestion, I knew that I was worried about the thing that it was there for, but I just hadn't prepared for it. Like, I was aware of it, but I just wasn't doing anything about it until this set came along, which is a Choice Scarf Togekiss. What this does is it basically checks all of Kelly's offense. It's got Air Slash there for Infernape, and it's got Dazzling Gleam there for Garchomp. So it's there to outspeed both of them and Air Slash kill or Dazzling Gleam kill. I think I outspeed both of them. I actually, now thinking about it, may have only EV'd it to outspeed Garchomp, which is really stupid. Really stupid, oh my god. I can't remember. Does that outspeed Garchomp or does that outspeed... No, I think that outspeeds Infernape, because it would be 50. No, it does just outspeed Garchomp. It's 57 that we're adding on, so that's 171, which does not outspeed Infernape. I'm not sure, I'd have to check, but I'd have to check. Anyway, but that's what it was there for. Dazzling Gleam, it stands a chance to OHKO Garchomp, which is fantastic. It's really strong. Air Slash is also a very good move for me to spam. The only resistance he has is Electros, I think. Oh, and Rhydon. So if I can get Whittle on his team, then this thing might be able to sweep late game. I've got Trick if I get rid of all of his fast offensive threats, and that will be able to cripple the wall, which is really useful. And then Tailwind as well. If I don't think I'm able to sweep with Togekiss, I can come in, set up a Tailwind, and then sweep with either Hariyama or Blastoise. So that was the idea behind this Togekiss, and it made me feel a lot safer. It's got decent bulk still, it hits really hard, and the coverage is really good for Kelly's team. So that was like what I was thinking of when we went into this. So yeah, let's get into the battle to see what happened. Okay, so immediately looking at the team that Kelly brought, I see that there's no Infernape, which is really, really good news for me. I was so happy to see that. Even though I had prep for it, it's the kind of prep where I didn't base my whole team around it, apart from the flipping Ocker Berry on my Jirachi, which could have been an expert belt that may have come into play later in the game. I'm not really sure, but I just, it wasn't like a super massive prep for Infernape that never came, so that's good. But what I do see is the Garchomp, which is very scary, because as I say, if it gets up a sub or an SD, then that could be bad news, although I have made sure that everything on my team can break Garchomp subs. And then also the Electros, which could be really hard to kill. I'm slightly worried as to how I am going to deal with that. Maybe get a burn on it with one of my 2 Will-O-Whispers, and then just chip away. If it's Assault Vest though, that's definitely something to consider. Anyway, I thought that the best thing that I could do would be lead with Hariyama. The only things that I wouldn't want to see if I did that would basically, well, it probably is just Azumarill, maybe the Mungus as well, because I wouldn't want to risk getting spored, and also Reuniclus, because that could be Colbur Berry, so knockoff might not do very much damage. So yeah, Hariyama is a really good lead here, and that's what I'm going to do, hoping that he might lead with maybe Garchomp or Rhydon to set up rocks, because I could definitely deal with that really well. So let's get into the battle. We see here, well, he actually leads with Electros, and that's pretty good for me, because Hariyama is able to just fire off a close combat here. I think it would be able to live any hit from an Electros, depending on the set. After the defense drops, maybe like not a Banded or Specs Electros, I probably couldn't live the hit. But we see here that Electros just goes for a knockoff, in case it maybe wanted to get rid of an Assault Vest or something like that. But I'm Life Orb, of course, so now I can just fire a knockoff here, because anything that wants to come in will lose its item, and that would be pretty dandy for me. And I take out Electros straight away. That's really good. Electros didn't do a massive amount to my team. I was thinking he might bring Electros for Aquatailing my Nidoqueen. I was aware. If I brought Nidoqueen, it would have had a Passo Berry. Anyway, right now, Garchomp comes in. That's a scary threat. I'm switching out. He protects that nicely and goes for a sub. I didn't want to... I still want my Hariyama, though. It has lots of wall-breaking potential. I switch straight into my Togekiss, knowing that I can take any one Rock Slide or Stone Edge. But anyway, yeah, I can break the sub with a Dazzling Gleam. I can take a Stone Edge or a Rock Slide, as I said. The Rock Slide does come out. I'm going to be able to eat that up. It does over half, unfortunately. But at this stage, I would be able to Oko that Garchomp, and we see that he's got lefties, no Roselli Berry or whatever it's called for Fairy type attack, so I would be able to KO it. I'm feeling like the switch is coming, but I didn't really know what into. He has lots of potential. Like he could have a Spadef Rhydon, or the rest of his mons could be AV, so I don't really know what's coming in. It probably is the Mushroom, but I don't feel confident in switching out on a Garchomp because it's a massive threat. So anyways, I'm going to switch into my dedicated switch in onto the Amoonguss, which is my Talonflame. I do have the safety goggles that come into play here. Sometimes I use safety goggles and people don't even bring Spore or Sleep Powder, but fortunately it was the right item choice in this instance, and now my Talonflame can just get a Wisp on something. Nothing really wants it apart from if Reuniclus came in, but that would be weird because Reuniclus doesn't take on Talonflame very well. Not this Talonflame anyway. Unless it's Spec Sideshot, that would have destroyed my Talonflame, but I don't think it's that. Anyway, I get the burn on the Rhydon, which means that Blastoise is a really safe switch in. If he wants to go for rocks, I'll be able to spin it straight away. That's quite a lot of damage for a burned Pokemon on a Blastoise, though, with a lot of HP investment. Obviously, I haven't Mega'd yet and got the defense boost, but that's still quite a lot of damage. Rhydon is a very strong Pokemon. I'm going to Mega Evolve here, and I believe I go straight for the Scald, because if I can get a burn on anything, that would be great. I don't think that the Rhydon is staying in. If the Azumarill wants to come in, I can try and burn that, but we see that Amoonguss is the thing that wants to come in on my Blastoise. Do a little Chocolate, and we get to see that it's got Black Sludge, which is good knowledge. It's not Assault Vest, meaning... well, we already know it's not Assault Vest because it's gone for a Spore. I'm going to switch straight back into the Talonflame, and the Spore comes out again. Kelly getting cheeky there, really trying to Spore something, but I'm not going to let that happen. I can't afford to have one of my Pokemon asleep. Everything has a role to play. But now I'm going to go into my Jirachi, thinking that Kelly's going to switch up, maybe into the Rhydon again, because I've got the Energy Ball and I will be able to take it out from there. And that's what happens, but I think it was a little bit too obvious. In fact, it was very obvious. It was really, really obvious. And anyway, I go for the Energy Ball as the Reuniclus comes in. I want to get damage on this. Reuniclus is a threat to my team, so I'm just going to go for a Shadow Ball here. This is where Expert Belt could have come in handy, although I get the special defense drop to mitigate that anyway. But as I said, it's a 40% chance, so it's actually pretty likely, and one of the reasons why I choose to run Shadow Ball on my Jirachi. The Trick Room goes up, though. I'm just going to keep firing off Shadow Balls because I want to get rid of this Reuniclus. I wanted to force it out anyway and for him to waste one of his Trick Room turns. Right now I'm going to go into Goregeist because I know it's a really safe switch in. I've got my Colberberry, and so even if you predict it and go to the knockoff, it wouldn't be much of a prediction anyway because I have Jirachi, and so it's not like a huge prediction. But yeah, I've got the Colberberry, so I can easily take that. And right now I think I want to Synthesis, or maybe I don't show that yet. Maybe I just go for another burn. Yeah, I go for another burn. That's a pretty useful play. Getting a burn on Amoonguss is really handy because it means that Regenerating Black Sludge won't be doing as much healing, and I need to start getting damage on this. So that's great. It'll really help with Blastoise as well, being able to Ice Beam it and get some more damage. Anyway, obviously I'm just going to switch straight back into Talonflame. I know it's super obvious, super duper obvious, but at this stage I don't care because I've got switch-ins to the rest of his I've got switch-ins at the moment, which is the main thing. Like anything that he wants to bring in, I have something to bring in on that. So that's pretty good. So right now I could have gone for a Taunt, but I thought that he might try and get cheeky and try and spore something because I have double switched on the Amoonguss before, and so I don't want that to happen. I could have taunted anyway, though that wouldn't have affected anything. And so anyway, Rhydon comes in. Taunt would have been good to maybe stop it from going for rocks so that I could keep the pressure on with Blastoise, because Brave Bird does nothing. It literally does nothing. Rhydon's taking some good damage though. It's under half, which is really fantastic. If this goes down, his team is going to struggle a lot more with Talonflame. So I just want to get rid of that. So I can go to my Blastoise now, and we actually see here that the Rhydon has rest. Very good prep. It means that it tackles my Talonflame a lot more, and I'm actually scared of how much damage this thing could do to my Blastoise right now. But obviously he's not going to stay in. I'm going to predict the switch into Amoonguss and go for an Ice Beam, and this should do maybe about half, maybe just over, maybe just under. It's a roll is to see if I could 2-hit KO, but you see there that I get a crit, and it's definitely not a roll whether I 2-hit KO now. With a burn I think I would be able to 2-hit KO anyway, but it forces his Mushroom out. It would have probably been forced anyway. It means that the Mushroom is at low health, and it's much easier to keep it at low health now with the crit. So I apologise for that hacks there, Kelly. I think it did change the game. I don't think it was a massive thing though. I don't think it was like a, if that hadn't have happened, then things would be hugely different. We see the Colberberry here on the Reuniclus. I was a bit scared that my Blastoise would eat an Energy Ball. It would be able to eat an Energy Ball, but I didn't want it. I didn't want it to. I wanted it to be quite healthy so that maybe it could take a hit from Garchomp. But anyway, Trick Room goes up again. I'm not too concerned about Trick Room. I've got my Talonflame, which has priority. I've got things to switch in on most of his offensive threats. But anyway, yeah, so the Reuniclus has the Shadow Ball too. That hits my Jirachi, but because I've got all the bulk investment, I can take that relatively well. I go for rocks here, probably not necessary, although with a burn on Amoonguss, getting that chip damage, it's not going to be healing as much with the Regenerator, so I will be able to keep it low at the point where the crit with the Ice Beam took it down. So that's why I went for rocks, basically to prevent Amoonguss from healing up so that my Blastoise will be able to deal with it a bit easier. So now the Trick Room is still around. I need to go into my Goregeist. I would have potentially just got the Energy Ball damage on the Azumarill, but I do need to go into my Goregeist because of the Trick Room. And Kelly predicts that nicely, goes through the Play Rough that does a lot of damage, but I know that I can outspeed outside of Trick Room, which goes down this turn, I think, and I can just get the Synthesis off so that I can keep my Goregeist as a dedicated Azumarill switch. And we're looking pretty good now. We're 6 Mons to 4, and yeah, and there's some of the scary things, like I'm really glad that Reuniclus has gone down. There's no Trick Room to worry about anymore, so that's fantastic. Amoonguss is here. If it has the Synthesis, it's probably going to go for it now as I switch into Talonflame, but we've seen Spore, Toxic, and I'm assuming Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb. I'm not sure if we've seen them yet, but I would have thought that it would need dual stab because it needs to have Giga for my Blastoise, and it would be silly not to have Sludge Bomb for both Talonflame and Togekiss, and Gourgeist, I suppose, maybe, because Gourgeist could sub on that. Anyways, yeah, my Talonflame can easily take the Sludge Bomb, although it is at a point where I want to Roost now, which gives Rhydon a free switch in and a free Sleep Talk, so it's going to be able to damage something. I thought this would be a good opportunity to go into Jirachi, because if I can get it in, I haven't seen a Sleep Talk yet, it does actually have Sleep Talk, but if I can get it in on a Sleep Talk Rest or a Sleep Talk Rock Slide, then that would be great. And that would mean that I could force this thing out and go for an Energy Ball, which would hit anything. And then if Amoonguss comes in, I could Psyshock that. Obviously, Azumarill would take a lot of damage. But no, he does get the 1 in 3 that would take me out and mean that my Jirachi just goes down, which I was a bit sad about because Jirachi stood a chance of getting another kill there. But no, that doesn't happen. It means that I can go into Blastoise though and threaten this thing out. I'm going to go for a Scald here because I think that Azumarill is coming in, and it does come in, so I'm just praying for the burn to punish that bad switch. Praying for the burn to punish the bad switch. Praying. If this happens, then yeah, the game is probably sealed up, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. The game is not sealed up, by the way, because sub SD Garchomp can still sweep me. It's terrifying. But yeah, it doesn't happen. So this thing, I still need to keep my Gourgeist around for... not that I'm planning on sacking Gourgeist anytime soon, because I love my Gourgeist. But yeah, he just goes for a Play Rough. At this stage, I'm going for a Seed Bomb, I believe, because I don't have to fear the Trick Room going up. I will be able to outspeed Azumarill on the switch, and so I just need to keep it above 50% really, and I'll be able to deal with the Azumarill. So Mushroom comes in, I get the little bit of chip Seed Bomb damage on, and the burn will take it down a bit further. I'm going to switch in. Now I was getting a bit patient at this point. I didn't need to make this play. I could have played the slow game, gone into Talonflame, and then got my switch into Blastoise on the Rhydon. But I got a bit impatient and went into Hariyama. My Hariyama is Sheer Force, not Guts, so that poison's kind of annoying. It really limits how many attacks that I'll get off. So that's annoying. I think at this stage, Close Combat is probably going to kill that Mushroom, so I'm just going to go for Close Combat. And we see that the Rhydon does come in. I lost my Life Orb to the knockoff on the Electros, but that doesn't really matter because this Close Combat is still going to be a 2-hit KO, and I do outspeed it because this is a defensive Rhydon, not an offensive Rhydon. But yeah, that was maybe a silly play switching into the Amoonguss because I could have gone for differential. But nah, I just was getting a bit tired of all the switching around. Kelly's team was annoying me with the fat things, and I was like, no, I just want to smack them around with my fat thing, my fat Sork. Hariyama, just really great. It like, I knew if I bring this in on an Amoonguss now, I get a kill, so it's probably worth it. At that range of health, like, my Hariyama is probably not going to do too much. If you went into Azumarill though, because I have the really, really easy switch in with Gourgeist, I would have just switched into Gourgeist and preserved this as Death Fodder, or maybe preserved it to get an Ice Punch off on the Amoonguss. But he went into Garchomp. I can't play around with that, letting that thing get up as sub. So I was just going to stay in and sack it, and he went for Rock Slide, and that is fine. And now I'm going to go into my Blastoise. This is my best play, because if I go into the Togekiss, I give him all the momentum, and that's not something that I want to do. So if I go into Blastoise and go for an Ice Beam, that's much better for me. It's going to threaten out the Garchomp anyway, and Mushroom goes down here, so that's really good. Like, the crit didn't really matter thinking about it, because this would have been a 2-hit KO anyway with the burn. I think maybe he would have got a Giga Drain off of my Blastoise, but that wouldn't have changed the game all that much. So yeah, now the Azumarill comes in. I'm going to preserve Blastoise. If it's at good health, then it will be able to get a hit off on Garchomp, but I think I've got enough things for Garchomp right now. Because I just need to make sure that it doesn't have a sub, and then Togekiss can KO it, and both Gourgeist and Talonflame can do that, so I didn't even need Blastoise in this last bit. But yeah, Gourgeist can get the kill on Azumarill, no point synthesizing up. And if Garchomp comes in, if it tries to sub, I know that it can break. I can break the sub, unless it's like a really bulky variant, but that means it's not very fast, and maybe I can outspeed it with something else. Maybe not, probably not. But it doesn't matter at this stage, because I can, whatever happens, I can break the sub with Talonflame and then Dazzling Gleam with Togekiss. So yeah, I just stayed in to make sure that he didn't get the sub up, and then I can go into Togekiss and win with the Dazzling Gleam, and that will be the game. So I win that one 3-0, which is a pretty good differential. I was quite scared going into this one just because of the Infernape and the Garchomp options could definitely take some hits on my team, but yeah, that went really well. I got impatient in the end with Hariyama as well, but I mean, that's what Hariyama's there for. He just, like, you can just switch him in and he'll get a kill, so that's what I did. But it was a really good game. Well played, Kelly. I think that you missed a trick with Infernape. I think that's the only thing that I would have changed, but I know that you were trying to prep for other stuff. I think he said that he wanted to bring his electric dude, Electros, to Aqua Tail, my Nidoqueen, that he thought I would be bringing, but I felt like I didn't need its wall breaking power with all the other things that I brought. But that's the problem with his team, was like he had a lot of bulk on walls and he likes to rely on them, and my team is like, I like a lot of things that can break down walls, and so he couldn't prep for them all very efficiently. But yeah, that was the game. Thank you very much for it, Kelly. Going on next week, we're battling the AS1 Furno, which promises to be an interesting match, and we're going to try and keep going with this week. We're 7-0 now, and we're only 4 matches away from the end, but it's still a lot to do. I need to win 3 more games at the very least to win, and even then I might not win. I need to guarantee a win. I need 4 more wins, which is like over half what I've already done, which seems like a lot. But thank you guys for your support. I really appreciate it. I hope you are enjoying Mewcastle United's season in the PPL. I've been Fufu, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.